I think it's time for me to do another video about what happens if the food system in this country crashes and why we have to put politics aside in order to prevent that from happening. Hey guys, my name's Will, this is the Back 40, and let's talk about it. Yesterday I did a duet with a farming couple from the state of Oregon. They live in the Portland area and they're one of many small farms that are concerned that the new legislation being passed in the state of Oregon, by Democrats mind you locally, could interfere with the ability of small farms and ranches to do special events across the state. Now, this bill is an effort on the parts of Democrats in the state to clarify what is allowed and what is not allowed in terms of agricultural events and agricultural tourism in the state. The problem is, if you read through the bill, and I'm of this opinion too, it's slanted very heavily towards larger producers and more corporate ag. It kind of bumps with the shoulder the smaller producers and smaller farmers and ranchers out of the way. But you can look at that yourself. If you go in there and follow Topaz Farms, who are the couple that made the video, and you go to their website like it says at the bottom of the video, you can read all about the issue and the problem on their website. You can make a determination as to whether or not you agree or disagree. And if you live in the state of Oregon, you can make a call to your state government official to tell them what your thoughts and beliefs are. That's not why I'm doing this video today. I didn't want to call out any of my followers, but I do want to take some people to the woodshed today, and here's the reason why. First of all, I don't know if it was because people didn't understand what the post was about, or if it's just our human nature with a short attention span to not watch a video all the way through or to read what it says at the bottom of the video. But very many people came into the comments, including some people that follow me, and made comments like, who did this couple vote for? I bet you they voted for Trump. I'm sure they're probably MAGA. FAFO. Well, you get what you vote for, etc. First of all, this wasn't even a national issue, but our immediate go-to position was to begin, not on the part of everybody, I want to make that clear, but a large group of people was to jump to the conclusion that this was a national issue and that this couple had voted for Donald Trump and they were getting exactly what they deserve. Now, I don't know who they voted for, but when I watch their videos and I go and take a look at their farm website, I don't think they probably did. But the problem is that we all jumped to that conclusion. We immediately started painting with that broad brush that we always paint with when we look at rural America and jumped to a conclusion that was neither fair or true. The second thing that I wanted to point out is, who cares if this couple did? If they're on the right side of the issue, if the state of Oregon is passing a law which is going to be detrimental to small farms and ranches and sets corporate ag up on a pedestal and gives them an unfair competitive advantage, we know that's wrong. Especially if you follow the Back 40, you know that's wrong. So who cares if they voted for Donald Trump? The bottom line is they would be right on this issue. The issue would be bad for small farmers and ranchers in the state of Oregon. It's not a national issue. Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with it. So judge the merit and judge them on the merits of this issue and decide if you want to be involved and support or not support. But once again, the same old FAFO argument creeps up its ugly head, which is the argument that I get every time I post a video dealing with a specific issue that's happened on a specific farm. Yes, people do suffer the consequences of their vote. I don't disagree with that. But once again, there was comment after comment painting all of rural America with the same broad brush. So here I go making the same points again. First, over 30% of rural America, including farmers and ranchers, did not vote for Donald Trump. They just didn't. They didn't vote for him. They didn't support him. They don't like his economics. They don't like his ag policy. They don't like what he's doing for rural America. So the only way you can make the argument that rural America is getting what it deserves is if you believe that because the majority of people in rural America voted for Donald Trump, then everybody in rural America should suffer the consequences. Well, let's apply that argument across the country on every single issue. Do you believe that because a majority of the people in a certain state don't believe that a woman should have a right to choose, then it doesn't matter if a law supporting that gets passed and the minority of people in the state that don't agree with that no longer have that right? I doubt it. I doubt you would take that stance. And I could go on and on and on down the line. I don't want to equate people who didn't vote for Donald Trump as marginalized people, but they are in a minority in rural America, and they deserve our help, and they deserve us to stand up and fight for them. The second thing I want to tell you, and you can make any argument that you want, 9% of rural people have switched away from their support of Donald Trump because of these poor policies that he's put in place. They're changing their mind. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm making the argument that if somebody voted for Donald Trump on economic issues and they didn't realize that he was going to deport everybody, and they're reaping what they've sowed, and now they're willing to step up and say, I was wrong or I was lied to, and I want to come work with you to make things better, I think it's the right thing to join arms with them and to do the right thing. If they want to work with us and help the Democratic Party fight back against these draconian policies and make rural America better, provide better health care, save our schools, and get better ag and rural economic policy, then I'm all for letting them join our team. And I'm just never going to agree with the idea that says if you make one bad decision in your vote, you no longer ever get to change your mind and participate with the team that's trying to make things better. If we do that, we will never win back rural America. And don't believe, I'm just telling you, I've said this so many times, I'm going to tell you one last time. Don't believe anybody that tells you there is a hidden liberal vote in rural America, that if we can just get them to come out and vote, we can overwhelm the Republican vote. In my home county, where I grew up in Polk County, Missouri, there are only nearly 1,000 people over the age of 18 that aren't registered to vote. That county went for Donald J. Trump by 80% to 20%, actually a little bit more than that. If you were to register every single one of those people as Democrats and get them to turn out for the Democratic candidate next time, and you were to get every single registered Democrat that's hidden in the county, supposedly, to come out and vote, the Democrats would still win the Republicans would still win by nearly 20%. Listen to what I'm about to say next and listen closely. There is no scenario in winning back rural America that does not include changing voters' minds. That's why you've heard so many rural advocates on TikTok since we started the Back 40 change their position on this. I'm not going to name names, but you know who they all are. And this isn't a slam against them. I think it's great that they had the wherewithal to say, you know what, I had the wrong stance on this and I've changed my mind. I'm going to change my stance. It was all FAFO. It was all you people in rural America are stupid. You people in rural America voted against your best interest. That's what it was all about. That's what we called rural advocacy on social media before the Back 40 came along. Now, social media influencer after social media influencer in political rural America, they're changing their minds on this. Hell, they're talking about the same issues we are. Better health care, better schools, better ag policy, and better rural policies on the economy. And I think that's great. I don't give a shit about copycatting. I think it's great. I want every one of them to do that. I want us all to be singing out of the same hymnal about the fact that we need to change rural America for the better, and that the key intricate part of that is changing minds. Because folks, whether you believe me or not, do the research in your own rural counties in your state. There is no magical Democratic vote out there that's just not voting. And an extreme left candidate or a centrist candidate or somebody in the middle is going to turn that vote out and we're magically going to win. It took the Republican Party 30 years to turn the blue parts of rural America red, and it could take us that long to win it back. One of my frustrations, it's taking too long for the national organizations to step up and help us do that. We have a proven concept here. We've got people reaching out to us to run for races all over the country in dark red places in rural America. Good candidates. Veterinarians, teachers, former veterans. They want to run for office, and they're reaching out to the Back 40 to do this. We're hosting telephone town halls. We've got 2 coming up here soon to talk about what these draconian cuts to Medicaid are going to mean for rural America and what you can do to position your family to somehow try to get through it. Nobody's doing these things. We're working with other organizations to make this happen. It's time for the big national groups to step up and to help us in this effort. But let's all do it together. Don't let your first reaction when you see somebody losing their farm or you see a bad policy being passed to pull out that broad brush and paint rural America across the board as you're getting what you deserve, who cares? Trust me, I know it's not all of you. It may not even be a majority of you, but we've got to get over this hurdle. We have to. We're never going to change rural America if we don't. Listen, I know you have a right to your own opinion. I'm just giving you mine and why I think it's the best way. Thank you for listening to me, and everybody have a great day.